chickadees. Happy Wednesday. It is Wine and Crime Wednesday. We made it to hump day. Thanks for coming and hanging out at the coop with me this evening. I'm a little discombobulated. It's been a day, but I'm getting it together. We're going to have a great evening. I have a lot to share with you. And so I am double fisting my drinks. I have water and my Dr. Pepper Zero, of course. All righty. What all do I need to prepare you all for? Let's first say hello to everyone. How about we do that? If you're new, hit the thumbs up and the like button. Do the Tubes of You thing. Become a subscriber. It doesn't cost anything to do that. And if you like hanging out here, think about becoming a member. Hello, Holly. Happy to have you back. And KS Granny. Hello, chickadees. Peppermint PJ is with us this evening. And our marvelous mod, Kelly, is back. Kelly missed the craziness on Monday Matters. Whoo, girl, gonna have to go back and watch if you haven't already. Doggy. We learned a lot about little Miss Mandy Matney. Who else we have here? Camper for Life. Thanks for coming back and hanging out with us. And who else am I? Oh, the little drummer boy is with us. And we got apple juice being, little drummer boy is drinking apple juice, and we've got KS Granny with her iced tea this evening. I had a very, very productive day. It was a busy day, but it was a very productive day. Oh, good, Kelly. I'm glad that you are completely caught up with us, because it would break my heart to think that you had missed the shock and horror of Monday Matters. Yikes. So this evening, a little side note. I have a lot to say about the Stefan Diggs trial that took place. And yes, I know we have a verdict and all that fun stuff, but I think there's a good possibility I may do a trial replay, because it's something else. I think we may have to watch that together. I have a lot to say about it. Hey, Murphy, thanks for coming on back and hanging out with us this evening as we finish the Murdaugh saga of all the fallout from that. Let me get you all a little bit up to speed from where we are. And thank you, Kelly. Kelly says, ma'am, you look extra fancy, though. Well, thank you. Every once in a while, there's a day that the gods shine down on me and I'm like, oh, not half bad. So thank you. So we finished Monday Matters by going through the legal tentacles that have come about since the double homicide case that convicted Alex Murdaugh. Mandy Matney was the first individual that we immersed ourselves in all of her legal matters on Monday. If you did not get a chance to watch Monday Matters and everything we discussed and watched in reference to Mandy Matney, you're probably going to want to go back and do that, because I have a completely different take on Ms. Matney now. And a lot of the things that I was thinking and getting feelings about when I would listen to her podcast all kind of became validated. So you're going to want to go back and watch that, because it's a doozy of a hearing. Hey, Kimmy, thanks for coming on back again. Happy to have you this evening. Also, for everybody hanging out on the Twix and watching, thank you so much. I am ever so thankful to have you all joining in and enjoying the party here at Ms. D's Chickadee Coop. All right. I am going to start this evening. We're moving on from Mandy Matney, and I'm hoping to get both the Mark Tinsley legal issues covered this evening and, of course, Courthouse Becky. That is my plan, to cover all of it. I'm hoping that it's not going to take me, 3.5 hours like it did Monday night, but we're going to try to muddle through all of the legal wranglings. There's a lot to the Mark Tinsley thing. It kind of morphs into, Mandy Matney's morphs into Mark Tinsley's. Yeah. So the first thing I want to start us all off with is, I tried to do this on Monday and I didn't have my life in order quite the correct way. But while I was at CrimeCon last year, I had a little interaction with the fabulous and lovely Vinnie Politan and Casey Anthony, the reasons I ever got on what is now called X. Thank you to both of them for bringing me to the Twix. And Mr. Mark Tinsley. And so I am going to hopefully...
Question about the Donna Adelson trial.
That is not what I wanted to do. Hang on. So this it's kind of hard to see. I was hoping it would be in a little better format for all of you. I struggle with some of these other ways. I wonder if I do that. Oh no, that makes it worse. Let's not do that. How about this? Or this. I guess it stays pretty much the same size. Okay. So while at CrimeCon, if you are not familiar with how CrimeCon works, there are hour-long sessions and you're given a schedule and you kind of can plan out the things that you want to do on those, on the particular days for CrimeCon. And this particular session was about Alex Murdaugh. It was also primarily about Mark Tinsley. He is on the stage with Vinnie Politan, and I cannot remember the lady's name. She's also a journalist that was in this particular session. Mark Tinsley and Mark Tinsley's relatively new wife is who's sitting next to him on stage. And they all, in all of the breakout sessions, typically at the end, they have a question and answer opportunity. Well, I want you all to remember, CrimeCon last year literally took place the week after I was at the Donna Adelson trial. And so Donna Adelson was fresh on my mind and prompted me to ask the question that I asked, and I hope you all can hear it. We're going to try this. Let me shrink-a-doodle myself. I have the volume up all the way on it. You cannot see me. I am in the just out of shot to the left. There is a microphone that is facing the stage, and you stand in line there. There wasn't a line. I just kind of walked over. It was like one of the last questions of the session. So let's see if you all can hear. If not, I'll back it up and I'll try to adjust something. I have no idea.
Question about the Donna Adelson trial. There was a lot of different viewpoints in reference to Judge Everett kind of pushing Donna Adelson to
So, well, go ahead. Well, I was going to say, if you remember in Elliot's trial, the judge instructs the lawyer that he understands he has the right not to testify. This is someone who understands this. And then in Stephanie's case, for instance, you've got somebody with a very low IQ who doesn't, and his lawyer puts him up. If you take nothing else from this today, there's one shot. If you think your lawyer's screwing up, you better do something about it, because once the jury decides, once the judge rules, it's over.
And I think with Judge Everett, I think what he said was crystal clear. Donna Adelson, your trial is no different than any other criminal trial. You're not entitled to something better than everybody else. You don't get more time to decide if you want to testify. Okay? And we don't have time.
And there you have it. There I was in all my glory. I hope you all could see that. I'm going to go check the YouTube and see what this even looks like. My big breakout moment with Court TV's Vinnie Politan and the ever-present Mark Tinsley in all things Alex Murdaugh. So I thought it was appropriate this evening, since we were talking about Mark Tinsley, that I should replay this little clip that my sister-in-law was so lovely to have recorded. I didn't know she was recording it when I went up there. I wanted to know what their perspective was on Donna Adelson, because at that time, and I'm trying to remember, I feel like it was Allie and Bob Mata were really, really upset that Judge Everett was pushing Donna Adelson so hard to make a decision about whether she would testify or not. And I was extremely interested to know from the panel there, especially Mark Tinsley and Vinnie Politan, whether they thought that that was an issue, because I had heard Bob and Allie both saying they thought that was going to be an appellate issue. And I thought, gosh, I don't think that's an appellate issue. So that is why I asked the question. I'm happy I did. I'm very happy that my sister-in-law recorded it, because it was a fun little moment for us. And thank you, KS Granny. Looking good there, Ms. D. Yeah, it is a fun thing, convention to go to. It isn't for everyone. I get that. I rather enjoy myself there. So as long as they continue to bring good topics, I will go. I will say this next time around, so far the schedule I've seen, I am not looking at filling every single day with sessions all day. There just aren't so far things that grab my interest for the entire 3 days. So let's hope. It hasn't been a full year. I'm kind of surprised, because it was September when they had it last year. And here we are, it's the end of May and we're having it again. So it hasn't been a full 12 months. So we'll see what happens next year. But there was my brief encounter with Vinnie Politan. Actually, when I very first arrived at CrimeCon and my sister-in-law were going to register to get our passes for the entire time, Vinnie Politan literally was like right in front of me. I have a feeling he was live because he was carrying his cell phone and talking about what was going on as he was walking. And he's not nearly as tall as I thought he was. So this year, Murphy, it is going to be in Las Vegas. And last year it was in Denver. And I have no interest in going back to Denver again. Thank you. The traffic is absurd in Denver. And that's all I have to say about that. All right, let us get going with all things Mark Tinsley. Bear with me while I get us queued up, because there is a lot to this. This one is something else because it involves multiple cases. So, K.S. Grandy were born and raised in Denver? Oh, Murphy. 12 inches of snow? I'm laying out in the sun this time of year. Sorry. Can't do the snow. Hey, Serenity. And hello, Hope. Thanks for coming back, both of you. And I am very pink. Oscar and Vivica's bed is pink in my studio. My arm for my microphone is also pink. My mouse and mouse pad and keyboard are all pink. It's a very pink room. So, yeah, my business card holder for misdemeanor, pink. My handbag, pink. So, let us get going. Let me add this to the stage. Let me get myself in the right spot. All righty. Stay hydrated, y'all, because there's a lot. Okay. Yes, Kelly, there really is somebody that has never heard of the Murdaugh case. Okay. Mark Tinsley, accused of manipulating justice through media firestorm. So, by the way, this article is coming from the ever-present stalker of Mandy Matney, James Seidel, his website, Crime and Cask. I have no problem telling you all of that because I find absolutely nothing about his reporting to be anything but exceptionally informative. And I apologize if he is stalking Ms. Matney in some way. But based on everything we have all seen so far, I don't see that as a reality. And so I'm going to reserve judgment. What I have seen so far is it looks like Mandy Matney does not want anyone to know how she truly operates and who she really is. And that's a different thing than being stalked. So this is Mr. Mark Tinsley with his wife. The celebrity lawyer effect. Mark Tinsley accused of manipulating justice through media firestorm. This is from November 4th, 2025, Horry County, South Carolina. South Carolina attorney Mark Tinsley, already a household name from his high-profile involvement in the Alex Murdaugh saga, is now the target of a new lawsuit that paints a damning picture of media manipulation, ego, and self-promotion. The 23-page complaint for declaratory and equitable relief filed November 3rd, 2025 in Horry County Common Pleas Court by plaintiff Weldon Boyd accuses Tinsley of deliberately corrupting the course of justice through what it calls a media firestorm of his own making. Boyd's attorneys, Disa Ballard, Harvey Watson, and Haley Hubbard of Ballard and Watson in West Columbia described Tinsley as an attorney who did not let the truth get in the way of a good story, alleging he sought personal fame and influence rather than justice for any client. That piqued my interest. Is it true? Shoot, I don't know. And I'm trying to see back here. I'm going to double check before I get off of. Hang on just a second. Yeah. We'll go through the actual complaint. I wanted to make sure that I had it pulled up. The case that started it all. I mean, technically, really, the case that started it all was probably the death of Mallory Beach and the Beach family pushing to hold the Murdaugh family responsible, primarily Alec and Paul, because they believed Paul was driving the boat. I say he is alleged to have been driving the boat because it has not been proven. We all have our own thoughts on what we think happened. So that's really the case that started it all. And then, of course, Alex Murdaugh case, and then the 2023 Highway 9 shooting. I hope everyone is up to speed on who the Beaches are and how and what Mark Tinsley's interaction or involvement in the Alex Murdaugh case was. He was a primary focus because the Beaches were pressing charges and filing a civil suit, and they were demanding that Alec provide his financials for that. The demand for those financials, the deadline, was the day that both Maggie and Paul Murdaugh were murdered at Moselle. That, of course, prompted Mark Tinsley to be an individual that testified in Alec's trial. And then, after all of that, this Highway 9 shooting took place because Alec's trial was in January and February of 2023. This particular Highway 9 shooting took place on September 9th, 2023. I hope everybody's up to speed now. I'm trying to fill in the blanks for you. At the center of the lawsuit lies the September 9th, 2023 road rage confrontation in Horry County that ended with the death of Scott Spivey, a bar patron who had reportedly spent nearly 5 hours drinking before getting behind the wheel. According to the filing, Spivey's reckless behavior and aggression culminated in a violent pursuit of Boyd's vehicle. Witnesses and 911 recordings describe Spivey brandishing a .45 caliber handgun and firing toward Boyd's truck, prompting Boyd and his passenger to return fire in what they described as self-defense. And this is a picture of Scott Spivey, who is no longer with us. Hey, Christine. And correct. Little Drummer Boy says, just for reference, this case is not located anywhere close to the Murdaugh case, different part of the state. Yes, that is absolutely true. Murdaugh was Beaufort and Hampton counties, if I remember correctly. And this, of course, as we're learning, is in Horry County. Multiple independent eyewitnesses confirmed Spivey was the aggressor. The South Carolina Attorney General's office reviewed the case and concluded in April 2024 that Boyd's actions were justified. Despite this, Boyd's filing alleges that within months, Tinsley was retained by Spivey's family, and what should have been a closed matter became a statewide media spectacle, turning tragedy into publicity. The complaint asserts that Tinsley used the wrongful death lawsuit not as a legal instrument, but as a public relations weapon. Boyd alleges that Mark Tinsley has selective leaks, provided private discovery material, including 911 calls, photos, and deposition footage to news outlets like the Sun News, WMBF, and the Wall Street Journal to drive coverage. Federal non-public evidence to podcasters and reporters to control the narrative and elevate his own reputation. Publicly claimed that key witnesses didn't actually see what happened. Statements the lawsuit calls knowingly false. Branded himself online as a dragon slayer, media genius, and Tiger Tinsley, using the publicity to cultivate celebrity status. I mean, I knew him as like Dark Tinsley. Exactly, Serenity, aka Mandy Batney. You got it, because they're BFFs, baby. Which there's nothing wrong with that, but you still need to have a professional code of conduct when it comes to what you share. The lawsuit argues that these acts were intentional, willful, and designed to attract attention. even when they contradicted the findings of law enforcement and prosecutors who had cleared Boyd. A lawyer's quest for fame. Boyd's legal team paints Tinsley as a man consumed by his own fame, a celebrity lawyer who built his persona through sensationalism. There they are again. The complaint asserts that Mark Tinsley did not engage in the acts for tactical reasons in any client matter, but for his own personal purposes of establishing and increasing his celebrity status. To prove the point, the filing references Tinsley's own statements, where he has publicly embraced his media persona. Sorry about that. I have been doing that all day long. My apologies. I will try to mute every time. Where he has publicly embraced his media persona, from appearing on national podcasts to referring to himself as a 5-year-old forensic auditor and part-time provider of comedy. Thank you, Lil Drummer Boy, for the bless you. The lawsuit even quotes Mark Tinsley as telling one witness that he targeted a particular media outlet first because he knew the others would follow. Well, good, Peppermint PJ. I'm glad you're watching if you've never heard of this before. That's the whole point. That's why we come. That's why you come to Ms. D's chickadee coop, so that you can learn all this stuff. Political fallout. The complaint also outlines the ripple effect of Tinsley's media tactics. In May 2025, 9 South Carolina legislators, including Representatives Kevin Hardy, Lucas Atkinson, Heather Amons Crawford, Case Britton, Jackie Haynes, Tim McGinnis, Carla Schuessler, Carl Anderson, and Val Guest, wrote to Governor Henry McMaster, urging him to reopen the Spivey case. You didn't know the Boyd story either. And I'll tell you, I think there is a hearing or something that was covered a month or two ago. That might be something we end up delving into at some point in the future, if you all are interested. Boyd's attorneys argue this letter was the direct result of Tinsley's media campaign, which pressured public officials to manipulate the facts of the case and revive a criminal investigation based on misrepresentations. The lawsuit alleges that Tinsley's public comments and selective leaks created a false public perception that Boyd had evaded justice despite 2 separate investigations clearing him. Examples of media manipulation. The complaint dedicates an extensive section to documenting Tinsley's alleged media behavior, citing dozens of incidents over several months. I must hydrate again. You too. March 14th, 2025, quoted in the Sun News, claiming considerable information and calling the initial investigation disappointing despite no new evidence being produced. April 17th, 2025, told the Wall Street Journal that there was damning evidence missed by investigators, later alleged to be misleading. This sounds similar to the complaint that we read in reference to the University of South Carolina and Mandy Matney. See some parallels? I see some parallels. August 25th, 2025, posted internal police case logs on Facebook with the caption, "They looked, they just didn't see." Yikes, that's not a good thing to do. Internal police, I mean, if you can get it through a FOIA, I guess that's different. I don't know if police logs you can get through a FOIA. May 8th and 9th, 2025, posted excerpts of audio recordings from discovery materials, made inflammatory comments about the Attorney General's office, and claimed no witness saw Spivey fire his weapon. August 6th, 2025, WMBF News reported that it had obtained recorded phone calls from Boyd through an attorney, which Boyd's legal team alleges was Tinsley himself. Boyd contends these actions were not only unethical, but intentionally misleading, aimed at keeping his name in headlines while undermining the justice system. Pattern of behavior from Murdaugh to Boyd. The complaint draws a parallel between this case and Tinsley's earlier rise during the Alex Murdaugh trial, where he became a frequent cable news guest and podcast commentator. It argues that Tinsley raised his public profile significantly through his involvement in that case, learning that media exposure could elevate his influence, reputation, and client base. Of course. Boyd's attorneys claim this lawsuit represents a continuation of that same pattern. Tinsley has once again blurred the line between attorney and entertainer. A source familiar with the situation alleges that attorney Mark Tinsley played a behind-the-scenes role in connecting Christine Avery to discussions involving the removal of juror 785, the so-called egg juror, concerning the Alex Murdaugh murder trial. Uh-oh. Not the egg lady. If you are new and don't know anything about the egg lady, in the final hours of evidence being put up in Alex Murdaugh's homicide trial, there was a juror that was let go. And before she was able to be dismissed, she told Judge Clifton Newman that she needed to get her eggs. And he said, eggs? And she said, yes, eggs. Apparently, she had brought eggs, farm fresh eggs for everyone on the jury. And so she wanted to make sure that that was taken care of. And from then on, she has been called the egg lady. So there's the story. Now you know, and you will understand when people talk about the egg lady or the egg juror when they're referencing Alex Murdaugh's trial. And hello, Kristen. Thanks for joining us this evening. According to this source, Tinsley was already connected to Avery through Mandy Matney and the Luna Shark Media Network. Uh-oh. The source further claims that Tinsley and Avery were involved in communications concerning juror 785, and that video was eventually leaked. Oh, what? How did I not know about this? A video? Oh, I need to know about that. The same source also alleges that Tinsley had previously leaked material to Fitz News during earlier stages of the Murdaugh coverage, and alleges that Liz Farrell worked closely with Tinsley on a mock jury project prior to leaving Fitz News to join Luna Shark. Additionally, the source claims that Tinsley later filed suit against Will Folks after concerns arose that Folks was allegedly preparing to publicly identify Tinsley as Farrell's primary information source. These allegations have not been independently verified. Oh boy. That makes a lot of sense to me. I don't know how many of you out there were avid listeners to I don't even remember. I did this the other night too. Mandy's original, I think it was called the Murdaugh Murders podcast. She always seemed to have inside information. Makes you wonder now, doesn't it? Oh, yes, Kelly. I think there's tons of tea that can be spilled. I want it to happen. I want to see it. Why this matters to Greg Parker's case against Mark Tinsley. All right, let me explain again in case you are new this evening or you don't know who these parties are. Greg Parker is the owner of Parker's Convenience Store. It is the location that Paul Murdaugh, using Buster Murdaugh's ID, went in and purchased alcohol for everyone to consume the evening in which Mallory Beach was thrown from the boat and killed because of excessive speed and crashing into a piling on of one of the bridges. The Beach family is suing Parker's, among many other individuals and entities. So that is just a quick little synopsis of how Greg Parker and Parker's is part of any of this discussion. Now you know, if Parker can show Tinsley helped shape public perception through media relationships before and during trial, and the mock jury was used as part of that strategy, then Parker can argue defamation plus tortious interference plus civil conspiracy. Uh-oh. Hydrate. In simple terms, you didn't just sue me. You ran a coordinated media legal operation to make the public think I was guilty before we ever got to a courtroom. If Parker proves that, it could destroy Tinsley's credibility, undercut the wrongful death case leverage, and could reopen prior settlements. Let me tell you, Mr. Tinsley is the attorney on record for the Beach family. That's how this all came about and started. Equitable relief, not money. Unlike most civil filings, Boyd's lawsuit does not seek monetary damages. Instead, it asks the court for a declaratory judgment, a legal finding that Tinsley's conduct perverted the course of justice and made it impossible for Boyd to receive a fair trial in South Carolina courts. Boyd also seeks to have his legal costs covered and to establish a public record acknowledging Tinsley's misconduct. His legal team writes, public policy justifies the equitable relief sought in this action, arguing that Tinsley's manipulation of media has caused permanent prejudicial harm to Boyd's constitutional right to due process. Analysis. Celebrity lawyers and the ethics gap. If Boyd's allegations are substantiated, the case could become a landmark in defining the boundaries of attorney conduct in the digital era. Oh, yeah, this would change a lot. The complaint exposes an uncomfortable reality for the profession. The rise of the influencer lawyer, where cameras, clicks, and social currency can sometimes eclipse the duty to truth. Tinsley's defenders may argue that his media presence brings transparency to powerful institutions, but Boyd's team contends the opposite, that Tinsley weaponized media access to create his own truth, one that blurred the line between justice and entertainment. Conclusion. A test of integrity in the age of exposure. The Boyd v. Tinsley case will not determine guilt or innocence in the original shooting, but it may determine something larger. Whether a lawyer can use fame as a shield while shaping the court of public opinion as aggressively as the court of law. For now, Mark Tinsley remains silent on the new allegations, but the court of public perception, one he's long mastered, may be turning against him. Yeah. So, Kelly is saying, I could be wrong, but I think Tinsley took over several suits against Murdaugh, i.e. the financial crimes, after he was convicted of the unfortunate passing of Maggie and Paul. I don't know if he did. I do know Eric Bland is still very involved with many of the individuals that Alec stole from. Most significantly, of course, is Mrs. Satterfield's sons. Eric Bland, he has taken on several of those individuals. I don't know if Mark Tinsley has, but I know that Eric Bland and his firm have taken on many of them to get them made whole. Okay. So that was in November. Isn't that what I said? Hang on. Let me get my ducks in a row. Yeah, that was November 6th. And now this next section is from November 18th, 2025. And we're going to read it, and then we're going to dig into the actual complaint. Murphy, I think Eric Bland and Mark Tinsley are in competition with each other, trying to be higher on the ladder in the Murdaugh case. Only my opinion. You know, I adored Eric Bland through all of this. I just thought, you know, what a cool dude, and I liked his message, and I liked that he was fearless. And as you all know, I am relatively apolitical, and I have seen a lot of political statements being made by him, and that just turns me off. And so in any way, I don't care which way you go. I just don't want to hear your politics. That's not, I'm not interested in knowing what your position is on politics. You're an attorney. Your vote counts the same as mine. So I just, no, don't use your influence in that way. So I kind of got turned off by that, if I'm being perfectly honest. Let's go to the next article that has more information for us. The Media Machine. There's Mr. Mark Tinsley. Inside the expanding legal assaults targeting South Carolina attorney Mark Tinsley. A new war on one of South Carolina's, I'm assuming that is supposed to be most adored attorneys or most liked attorneys. Hampton, South Carolina. Attorney Mark Tinsley, celebrated by some as a crusader, criticized by others as a media opportunist, is now facing a two-front legal war that strikes at the core of his public persona. In Hampton County, the long-running civil battle between Parker's Kitchen owner, Greg Parker, and the Beach family has escalated into a discovery fight over alleged media influence, strategic leaks, and off-the-books trial preparation, including focus groups, mock juries, and journalist coordination. And in Horry County, a separate lawsuit filed November 3rd, 2025 by plaintiff Weldon Boyd accuses Tinsley of orchestrating a statewide media firestorm to manipulate the justice system following the 2023 Highway 9 shooting of Scott Spivey. That complaint alleges a deliberate pattern of celebrity lawyering designed to boost Tinsley's fame, influence, and narrative control. Now, both cases appear to be converging on the same theme. And that's the problem I have with this. I would normally not think there is any meat on the bone. But man, when you have more than one case that are kind of saying the same thing, makes me go, ruh-roh. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Is there something legitimate in what these complaints are saying, since there's more than one? It's kind of like Diddy. When the first complaint came out, and it was a lot, I was like, I mean, that's pretty damning. I'm kind of starting to think, yeah, he was probably up to some shenanigans, and not good shenanigans. But then when it was another one and another one and another one and another one, at some point, then you have to look and realize there's a pattern here. And the reason there's a pattern here is because there's more to it. And it might be truth that is what is more to it. So that's what I'm concerned here is you now have two cases. Let's keep reading, shall we? Did Mark Tinsley weaponize the media and journalists themselves to influence public perception, pressure defendants, and shape outcomes outside the courtroom? Part 1. The Parker case, a discovery war over mock juries, media, and leaks. And I'll be honest with you, I hope it explains someplace in this article. I did not think mock juries were an issue, but it could be different in South Carolina. I have definitely participated, as you all know, in more than one mock jury because I love to be involved in our judicial system. And it is a tool, as far as I am concerned, or as far as my understanding is, that attorneys use so they can better prepare for their civil cases. Both mock juries that I was a part of were for civil cases, and it helped the attorneys find and recognize blind spots in their case when presenting it to a jury. So I don't know. I don't know if that's a big deal or not. I don't know if they have to disclose that they've done that. I don't know. Let's read on. The case Renee Beach et al. Versus Gregory Parker et al. Began with Tinsley's lawsuit, wherein he accuses Parker of manipulating media to weaken the resolve of Renee Beach to continue with her original lawsuit. But the litigation has metastasized into something far more explosive. Oh boy, so this like a boomerang. I'm slinging it out there and whoop, 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 on the head. Oops. Oh boy, I hate when that happens. Parker's latest move, subpoenaing former Fitz News journalist, researcher, and author Callie Lyons. Interesting. On November 14th, 2025, Parker's defense team issued a subpoena. Oh, I don't do Latin. Subpoena ducis tecum to investigative journalist Callie Lyons, commanding her to hand over. Oh boy. All communications concerning Mandy Matney, all communications concerning Liz Farrell, all communications about Greg Parker and Parker's Kitchen, all communications concerning Tabor Vaux and Mallory Beach, all notes, drafts, research, and documents connected to the case, all communications or records involving focus groups or mock trials. This subpoena is confirmed in the document filed by Parker's counsel on November 14th, 2025. Parker's demand is sweeping. It covers emails, texts, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, X, Twitter DMs, articles, drafts, notes, and any data connected to mock juries or focus groups regarding the Beach lawsuit. Oh boy. Yes, I think so, Kelly. This is why Mandy was trying to avoid court. Yeah, I think there are big problems with her involvement in this. I see a lot of parallels with another case and another individual. Yeah. Veteran journalist Callie Lyons is doing exactly what ethical reporters are supposed to do. Follow the law, honor the truth, and cooperate fully when subpoenaed. Hey, so side note, we all realize Mr. Seidel is the one that is writing this, the one that is stalking Mandy Matney. It does not escape me that he put this little dig in here in this sentence, because I think this is truly what his issue is with Mandy Matney. It has nothing to do with stalking her, and it has everything to do with her being involved in some possible shady and underhanded behavior, which y'all know here, we're going to shine a big old magnifying glass and light on it. We don't like that at the chickadee coop. Nope. I think that is exactly what the issue is. I don't think he's stalking her. I think she wants to shut him up. Because after all, she was able to shut up the University of South Carolina people. They couldn't even get into a venue or for an event, remember? That worked. And she can't seem to wrangle Mr. Seidel. Just saying. That's my perspective on it. Lyons has now complied with the defense subpoena and, according to sources familiar with the case, has or will produce what are described as thousands of text exchanges between Mandy Matney and Liz Farrell. Oh boy. Oh, wouldn't we all like to read those? Oh, I would love to read those. Messages legally obtained that reportedly include hundreds of discussions about Mark Tinsley and Farrell's direct involvement with the mock jury operation Tinsley oversaw, which later fed into Farrell's published reporting. Sources also tell CC News Network, this would be Crime and Cask News Network, that in the most recent Cup of Justice episode, number 154 and 155, Farrell characterizes portions of her 7-hour deposition in a way that appears to conflict with what the text messages are expected to show. Uh-oh. Whoopsie daisy. Yowzer. Don't lie about the stuff that's in text messages. Have we learned nothing from Michael Proctor and Brian Higgins? Hello. Wow. Oh. If accurate, this new evidence could shine a harsh and unwelcome sunlight on whether Farrell and potentially Matney misled their audience and whether any sworn statements were inconsistent with documented communications. Did y'all see what he did there? You know, her other podcast is called True Sunlight. I just want to point out how much I am very much appreciating his subtle undertone that only if you know what's going on do you pick up on. Okay. Farrell also states in number 155 that she did in fact help a friend, Mark Tinsley, set up a mock jury, claiming she wasn't compensated and that it occurred after she left Fitz News. But this raises two glaring questions. Why is a journalist assisting an attorney with a mock jury, something lawyers routinely conduct without media help? Yeah, that's a really good question. I'm waiting. Bueller? And second, how does this square with the extensive text messages between Farrell, Matney, and others that paint a very different picture of their involvement at the time? If during Farrell's deposition, an attorney who knows the truth and permits a client to lie under oath is effectively suborning perjury, a criminal act in South Carolina that also violates multiple rules of professional conduct. Another one. Oh, only you people that regularly listen to Mandy Matney's podcast would understand why this next title is so funny to me. Why this is a big deal. This guy's cracking me up. Stalker or not, he's cracking me up. It's professional. It is not underhanded. He is spewing facts. Love it. Absolutely love it. For years, rumors circulated and alleged that Matney, Farrell, and Luna Shark Media worked closely with Tinsley. As journalists, they collaborated with legal insiders to shape coverage. Mock jury and focus group research was conducted to predict juror sentiment and potentially influence it. Parker's legal theory appears fairly simple. If Tinsley orchestrated a coordinated media campaign, possibly using journalists, focus groups, and mock juries, then the Beach lawsuit was not just litigation. It was a public relations offensive designed to destroy Parker's reputation before trial. Parker's motion to compel, filed September 24th, 2025, demanded mock jury information directly, complaining that the Beach legal team was refusing to produce these materials. Now, by targeting Lyons, who has never been a part of the Beach team, Parker appears intent on mapping the entire communications network surrounding Matney, Farrell, and Tinsley. Oh boy, that's not good for them. Parker's legal team may have just uncovered what some close to the case describe as a motherlode of legally obtained messages, documents they believe could strengthen their position beyond any reasonable doubt. For years, the Cup of Justice team has repeated the mantra that everyone should drink from the same cup of justice. Now, with these thousands of messages coming into the sunlight, it appears they may soon be drinking from that very cup themselves. I love this guy's writing. It's awesome. This is the first time South Carolina has seen true crime media figures dragged into the legal spotlight like this. It marks a new, unprecedented moment where the investigators, commentators, and podcasters who usually cover the drama have now become part of it. Part 2. That was just part 1, everybody. Enter Weldon Boyd, a second lawsuit mirroring the same allegations. On November 3rd, 2025, in Horry County, Weldon Boyd filed his own legal assault on Tinsley, and the accusations echo Parker's case almost point for point. Here are the highlights from Boyd's 23-page complaint. Allegation 1. Tinsley manipulated the media to control the narrative. Boyd accuses Tinsley of selectively leaking discovery, feeding reporters photos and 911 calls, providing non-public evidence to news outlets, influencing podcasters, publishing misleading commentary online. The complaint asserts that Tinsley intentionally crafted a media firestorm to revive a closed case and pressure officials, even after the Attorney General's office ruled Boyd acted in self-defense in the September 2023 Highway 9 shooting. Allegation 2. Tinsley sought celebrity, not justice. Boyd's lawyers described Tinsley as a self-promoting figure, branding himself as a dragon slayer, self-identifying as Tiger Tinsley, posting sensational content on social media, positioning himself as an influencer lawyer. I'm sorry, Massachusetts union rep has left the chat and wishes to never be contacted. I hope you're joking, Kelly. It's been a long day for me. I hope that's a joke. I hope so. Oh, hallelujah. Yeah, see, it's been a productive but long day for Ms. D. So, allegation 3. Tinsley used media to pressure legislators. 9 lawmakers reportedly wrote Governor McMaster urging the case to be reopened. Pressure Boyd links directly to Tinsley's media campaign. Allegation 4. The lawsuit asks for no money, just a judicial declaration of misconduct. Boyd seeks declaratory relief, findings of manipulation, coverage of legal costs, public acknowledgement of Tinsley's conduct. This is a reputational strike, not a cash grab. All right. Eve says the other side is working hard to neutralize Bland and Tinsley before Alex next trial. Yeah. I don't know that it'll matter. And if it sounds like Alec is going to get a new trial, I don't know that Bland and Tinsley will matter in that particular situation. And hello, Eve. Thanks for joining us tonight. Part 3, deeper allegations, leaks, mock juries, and the Murdaugh universe. Sources familiar with the matter, whose claims have not yet been independently confirmed, allege the following. Tinsley communicated with Christine Avery, the woman publicly tied to the anonymous email about Juror 785, Egg Lady, in the Murdaugh trial. Avery even publicly thanks Tinsley for all his help. Tinsley's relationship with Luna Shark Media gave him direct lines to public-facing storytellers. Oh, yes, it did. Liz Farrell collaborated with Tinsley on a mock jury project before leaving Fitz News. The hundreds of text messages appear to confirm this allegation. Tinsley later sued Will Folks, founder of Fitz News, after concerns arose he might reveal Tinsley as a key information source for Farrell. Another text message appears to confirm this allegation. Tinsley allegedly has historically leaked information to Fitz News during the Murdaugh litigation era. Specifically, it appears to Liz Farrell. The texts also appear to dive into an alleged perceived relationship that went bad after Farrell found out that Tinsley was getting engaged, to his current wife. Oh. Another oopsie daisy. Yikes. I got to read that one again for y'all. The texts also appear to dive into an alleged perceived relationship that went bad after Farrell found out that Tinsley was getting engaged to his current wife. Yowzer. Yikes. She thought things were different. She thought things were very different. Liz did. And no shade to Liz, but if you put Mark Tinsley's wife next to Liz Farrell, there's not a lot of competition there. And I can tell you, hearing her speak at CrimeCon, her being Mark Tinsley's wife, I wish I could remember her name. I feel like it's Elizabeth, but I'm probably wrong. She's very educated, very well spoken, a sharp lady, very much so. If true, these allegations paint a picture of cross-pollination between journalism, advocacy, and litigation that would explain exactly why Parker is now demanding all communications with Farrell, Matney, Lyons, and any mock trials or focus groups. The subpoena to Lyons suggests Parker believes the key to proving Tinsley's manipulated the Beach lawsuit lies in the communications between journalists and trial consultants. One source references a text exchange between Matney and Farrell wherein Farrell admits an online persona named Truth Teller knows of Farrell's involvement in the mock juries, even going so far as to allegedly writing to Matney, "I wasn't allowed to tell anyone what case the jury is for." What? Stephanie, thank you. Thank you, Murphy. I knew it was like that, multiple syllables. Elizabeth, Stephanie. Yeah. Thank you so much, Stephanie. She's lovely. She seems very lovely. We're also told that these text messages were not closely guarded, but instead widely distributed, with sources saying they were originally shared on a common iCloud account accessible to other journalists for review. What is happening? Oh, because the messages were openly shared and widely circulated, no party can now claim they were privileged. Privilege ends the moment confidentiality does. There was no expectation of privacy. Yeah, Hope. Hell hath no fury. We all know what the rest of that is. Oh, as a woman scorned. Part 4. What joining the cases could reveal if Parker proves Tinsley coordinated with journalists, used mock juries to design media strategies, fed controlled leaks to shape the narrative, and influence public opinion outside the courtroom, then Parker could argue defamation. Tinsley's statements harmed Parker's reputation in business. Yeah, this is not good. Tortious interference. Tinsley manipulated third parties and media actors to damage Parker's legal standing. Civil conspiracy. Journalists plus consultants plus attorneys. A coordinated pressure campaign. Possible reopening of prior settlements. If the Beach settlement was reached under manufactured public pressure. Oh my goodness gracious. Part 5. The broader question: is this a new era of influencer lawyering? The convergence of these two lawsuits raises a new ethical dilemma. Where is the line between public advocacy and coordinated media manipulation? The digital era rewards attorneys who engage with social media, podcasts, and public commentary. But Boyd and Parker argue that Tinsley went far beyond advocacy, curating journalists, feeding exclusive leaks, running focus groups and mock juries, engineering social pressure, using media to attack jurors, officials, investigators, and defendants. This could become a landmark moment in defining the outer limits of attorney conduct in an age where podcasts and Twitter feeds carry more influence than courtroom transcripts. Conclusion. Hey, Jillian. Thanks for hanging out with us. Conclusion, a test of transparency, integrity, and power. For the first time, two separate lawsuits filed by two unrelated plaintiffs are accusing the same attorney of the same pattern. That's why I say it's a problem. Manipulating media, shaping public perception, leveraging journalists and influencers, blurring entertainment with justice, using mock juries to design public relations strategy. The subpoena to Callie Lyons sends a strong signal that Parker is committed to exposing the entire ecosystem surrounding the Beach litigation. Journalists, production teams, mock jury consultants, everything and everyone. And Boyd's lawsuit signals that the issue is no longer confined to the Murdaugh universe. As of today, Mark Tinsley has not publicly addressed either development. However, sources tell CC News Network that he has reached out to Lyons, expressing confusion over why she was served with a subpoena from Parker's attorneys. Is this the same confusion that Mandy Matney seemed to have when she was on the witness stand? Because she seemed very confused. For someone who's all involved in legal stuff and in all of that, she seemed really super confused. Just saying. Oh, lost my spot. Tinsley even went so far as to suggest that this media outlet supplied about all false information to Parker's team. But that raises an obvious question. If Tinsley truly does not know why Lyons is being subpoenaed, how can he simultaneously claim to know, much less assert, that we are providing false information to the attorneys requesting her communications? But one thing is certain. The media apparatus he allegedly leveraged so effectively could now be the same force placing him under scrutiny. Yeah, I agree. Oh, do you all want to see? There is the stalker himself. This would be James Seidel. I don't know, y'all. I'm almost wondering if I need to reach out to old James and see if he wants to come have a little chitty chat with all the chickadees at the coop. My interest is piqued now. Come on, computer. There you go. Good job. It makes me want to find out what's really going on. I bet you he could tell us a lot more information than even what's in what he's reporting here. I'm going to get or try to get the complaint pulled up here. The 23-page complaint. Actually, what I'm going to do, because I don't know if there is anything different than what I've just read multiple times. So let me take a little glance here. This is the Boyd matter. And it's just saying they want declaratory judgment. It's 24 pages. Here's the factual background. Okay. This talks about the road rage incident. We don't need to go into all of that. Yeah, a lot of this is about the actual Spivey Boyd case. And so I'm going to keep going here. Talks about eyewitnesses. Well, thank you, Janet. I'm happy to be a good reader. I try. I'm still looking to see I'm on page 10 of 24 pages. Okay. On or about October 3rd, 2025. Okay, let me I'm going to try to get this pulled up for y'all. and see. Let me make it a little bigger so I can read it a little bit better. Let me see. Maybe I can pop myself down here. On or about October 3rd, 2025, as a direct and proximate result of Tinsley's misconduct intended to further his public reputation and bolster his own public image, as described herein, including creation and perpetration of a false public narrative regarding the Spivey incident, the Attorney General assigned a new solicitor to review this investigation. Let's go to the next page. Tinsley engagement in conduct. This does not look like there's anything new. False yet sensational narrative. Acts were intentional, reckless, and willful, and upon information and belief, Tinsley knew his actions. Yeah, I'm not seeing really anything different than what I've already read. We're on page 12 now. I like to just kind of glance over it to see if there is some juicy tea we don't know about. So far, it looks very much like what we have already seen. Media attention, information related. Shared exclusive, documentation with them. Yeah, this is everything that actually has been in what I've already read. This is just the official version. I don't think I need to read anything more. There are 9 pages left of this. So let me just continue to, this talks about all the representatives, the political representatives, I should say. Examples of his specific wrongful acts. Oh, this looks new. It says Tinsley is credited in an online article updated by the Sun News on March 14th, 2025, entitled "Shooting Death Involving North Myrtle Beach Restaurant Owner Reopened Nearly 2 Years Later." The article quotes Tinsley stating they have found considerable information during the wrongful death lawsuit and have relayed it to authorities. Some of that includes Tinsley stating eyewitnesses to the shooting who had called 911 actually did not see what happened the day Spivey was killed. The article quotes Tinsley, "It's a very disappointing investigation. Hopefully they are going to be looking at everything. We're doing our damnedest to bring accountability to this. This was knowingly false." Yikes. I think there's lots of problems with the evidence. This is what he said on March 14th, 2025. Tinsley said the article states Tinsley said it doesn't make sense that if someone decides to chase that person and then shoot them, it's me standing my ground. The article describes Tinsley saying that Boyd got his feelings hurt, but it didn't warrant chasing and shooting Scott Spivey. It's exclusively about justice. The family is never going to get. Boyd doesn't have any money to make up for that loss of Spivey. The article appears to be an update from an earlier version of the article posted on June 4th, 2024, the day after Tinsley filed suit against Boyd, in which the media outlet claimed to have exclusive 911 calls made to Horry County dispatchers, which upon information and belief had been supplied by Tinsley from discovery in the civil action. Unless they can prove, and it would be easy to prove that you made a FOIA request and that is how you got the 911 call, that's going to be a pretty easy thing to prove in a court of law. Are y'all with me? I'm looking to see if there's anything else new in the tea here. Damning evidence, this Wall Street Journal article, all of this looks exactly what had already been summarized in the article that I read. Oh, in a Facebook post, this looks new. Tinsley published a photo of a portion of a law enforcement log entitled Case Management History with dated entries from January 9th, 2024 to February 8th, 2024, and stated, "They looked, they just didn't see." He put it on Facebook? Do you think? Oh, you're talking about if there was any truth to what Tinsley is claiming, they would have brought a criminal case. I think that's what you mean, Serenity. And then the article on May 1st, another Facebook post on May 8th. He published complete fabrication in response to a post from another person. I look at this and I can think of another attorney that dabbles in this a lot, and I'm always very concerned for him, and that is Mr. Mark Betterow. I'm always really super concerned when he gets very vocal about things. I'm always like, don't do it, just be quiet. Tinsley published a comment on Facebook. There's no witness saying he exited the truck. Oh, here's a big long comment. I think we need to read this one. In a Facebook post on May 9th, 2025, Tinsley published a post and added his own comment, which said, "I'm told that even this week, the assistant AG who failed to even possess the evidence in this case at the time she made her decision, much less even review the actual evidence that was available, has continued to dig in and scream about the 911 call of a witness who didn't actually see the shooting." This witness who says in her 911 call that she saw Scott shooting into the windshield of the shooter's truck. She says in that 911 call, she could see that dust flying off the windshield from the Boyd vehicle. The fact that assistant AG refuses to acknowledge her shortcomings in this case at this point must be driven by her own ego and a refusal to acknowledge she made a mistake or mistakenly relied on what she was being told. Oh my goodness, shut up. Don't put all this on Facebook. Everyone who has honestly looked at the actual evidence in this case knows the AG's position is demonstrably false. Despite what the 911 caller says, not a single bullet went into that windshield from Scott Spivey. All the bullets shot through that windshield were shot at Scott Spivey. The assistant AG also told me that nothing that happened in Highway 9 matters. Okay. Only what happens on Camp Swamp Road matters. But at the same time, she does say some things on Highway 9 matter after she says Scott was driving erratically, under the influence, and waving a gun on Highway 9. Last time I checked, even if he committed a crime or several crimes on Highway 9 before he was trying to run from the shooters, none of those crimes carry the death penalty. Emphasis in original. I feel like I've been to Camp Swamp Road before, but I think you're thinking of Holly Bobo, and I can't think of what swamp road that was. I have the Holly Bobo map still up here. I could look really quick. It looks like all of the other claims here we have already read. Let's see, 4 pages left. And then it talks about the causes of action. I mean, I feel like all the roads that we have to travel for these cases are swampy. Could just be my perspective. Okay. How we all feeling? It's a lot, huh? That's a lot that Mark Tinsley's involved in. I see a lot of intertwining with Ms. Matney. Now we see why Matney was fighting so hard. Yes. Yeah, I think I'm going to be following and paying attention. And I also think I'm going to try to reach out to Mr. Seidel and see if he would be interested in having a chitty chat with us here. I'm very curious to get his perspective. I think he probably lives in the South Carolina area. Let me look at his bio really quickly here. Bear with me, everybody. Oh, I went too far. Let's see. It says about the author. He is a publisher, award-winning journalist, author, investigator, podcaster, talk show host, and music producer. Oh, music. I like music. The CC News Network is a distinguished media company in the world of South Carolina news, weather, sports, and true crime. At the beginning, James Seidel was only known as Crime and Cask and well known for his relentless pursuit of truth and justice in the Alex Murdaugh trial. As a journalist, author, investigator, radio talk show host, and record producer, he has made significant contributions to uncovering some of the most complex and high-profile criminal cases of our time. Well, I want to talk to you, James, so I'm going to have to figure out a way to make that happen. I hope he'll be willing to chat with us. Are we ready for the next part of the Alex Murdaugh tentacles and fallout, and probably the thing that is going to get him a new trial? Courthouse Becky. Courthouse Becky. Ma'am, why'd you have to go mess it all up? Just why did she have to do that? Things were going so well. Things were going so nicely. And she had to stick her nose in there, mess it all up. All right. I'm going to take some more hydration before we get going into Courthouse Becky. Isn't Becky at the beginning of the song, I like big butts and I cannot lie? Isn't it Becky that she's talking to at the beginning of that song? Y'all let me know. I don't think he's a stalker either, Serenity. I want to know, like, his actual perspective so that we can all make our own decision as to whether he's a scary guy or not. Does that make sense? I just want to ask him some questions. Oh, Becky. All right. Here we go. Becky Hill, the clerk of court, accused of jury tampering. Yeah, Serenity, I think that's the problem. He's exposing them, and there's the issue. Becky Hill describes herself as a bit of a legal eagle, claiming that her entire career led up to her election as Colleton County Clerk of Court. Although she had spent over a decade working as a court reporter, Hill was still relatively new to the clerk role when the Murdaugh trial began, having been elected in November 2020. And there is the ever delightful Judge Clifton Newman. Bring the jury. I love him. Love Judge Newman. Before entering the legal field, Hill worked as a middle school teacher, held administrative positions in both state and local disability agencies, and later took on administrative roles in law offices. She eventually became a freelance court reporter, then transitioned into an official role with the state of South Carolina in 2008. In her book, has anybody here read her book? Tell me in the chat if you've read her book. I just want to know. I'm just curious. I have not read it. In her book, Hill notes that she was assigned to Judge Perry M. Buckner, the administrative judge for the 14th Judicial Circuit, which encompasses Allendale, Hampton, Colleton, Jasper, and Beaufort counties. Hill also highlights deep family ties to the Murdaughs, noting that in the close-knit rural low country communities, such connections are common. Is my low country person back in the chat this evening? I hope so. I can't remember who that was. Somebody from the low country. Like legit lives in this area. I'm looking back. I will recognize the name when I see it. Is it Murphy? Murphy, are you the one that lives in the low country? She recalls that her grandfather, Felder Hires, described as a mechanic by trade but a moonshiner at heart, ran an illegal liquor still with Buster Murdaugh, Alex Murdaugh's grandfather and the solicitor at the time. Okay, here we go. We're going to get into the timeline. Let's do a little time travel, everybody, and go back to the happy days of the conviction of Alex Murdaugh. It was a happy time for me. I was between jobs, sitting at home, watching the trial every day. Mr. Demeanor every morning would get up and ask me, "What are you doing? Why are you up so early and showering and getting ready?" And I said, "I got to go to court. Court starts. I got to go to court." And then he'd come home and I'd say, "We haven't adjourned for the day." Zip. March 2nd, 2023. Alex Murdaugh is convicted of murdering his wife and son. Becky Hill, as clerk of court, reads the guilty verdict aloud in court. August 2023. Hill publishes Behind the Doors of Justice, The Murdaugh Murders, a book about the trial. That was quick. Quick writing. September 5th, 2023. Murdaugh's defense files a motion for a new trial alleging that Hill tampered with the jury by making comments suggesting Murdaugh's guilt and interacting improperly with jurors. I can remember hearing old Poot talking about this. I know, Kelly, none of them ever write them. It's a sad state of affairs. October 17th, 2023, the South Carolina Court of Appeals grants Murdaugh's motion to suspend his conviction appeal and remands the case to the circuit court to consider the jury tampering allegations. November 21st, 2023. Colleton County Technology Director Jeffrey Hill, son of Becky Hill, was arrested and charged with wiretapping. While the details of the allegations against Jeffrey Hill, 34, are unknown, the case has been taken up by the South Carolina Attorney General's office. Following his arrest, Hill was fired from his $90,537 a year job. December 2023, Hill's co-author accuses her of plagiarizing parts of their book. Good God. Hill admits to the plagiarism, attributing it to deadline pressures, and sales of the book are halted. Oh, Kimmy, are you the one that is in the Low Country and you're back tonight? I think it might be you because you said connections are big down here. I think Kimmy is our Low Country local. Thank you so much for being here. Truly and seriously, I really appreciate that. Yes, Serenity, her son. I mean, they got to keep it all in the family now. This is why I had to do 2 whole live streams just on the tentacles and the fallout from this stupid trial. I shouldn't say stupid. 2 people lost their lives, and Alec is a despicable person. So, but yes, It's ridiculous. January 29th, 2024. An evidentiary hearing is held to examine the jury tampering claims. Judge Jean Toll finds Hill's testimony not entirely credible, but rules that her actions did not warrant a new trial. Now, I'll be honest with you. I watched those hearings. I, too, did not think it warranted a new trial. I was like, I don't think it would have changed any jurors' minds. I think there was more tampering after the fact by old Putin Griffin. March 25th, 2024, Hill resigns from her position as clerk of court amid ongoing investigations. She states that her resignation is to allow new leadership and to focus on her family, denying that it's related to the investigations. Well, of course she's not going to admit that. It's Courthouse Becky. May 2024. The South Carolina Ethics Commission charges Hill with 76 ethics violations, including using her position for personal financial gain, misusing public funds, and disclosing confidential information. She diverted $9,880 in child support incentive funds to issue herself bonus checks. Ma'am, you did not sit in that court. You did not go and talk on Dateline in 2020 in 48 hours and write a stinking book about how Alec was stealing from people, and then you did the exact same thing. Ma'am, stop it. When you point your finger, don't you realize there are 3 more pointing back at you? Becky. Unbelievable. She reimbursed herself for personal expenses such as meals, gifts, and office decor. I mean, you got to have a nice office, right? She shared a confidential photo of Alex Murdaugh in a courthouse holding cell to promote her book. I didn't even know that. Wow. Becky, you did not make good choices. Hill resigned from her position as clerk of court, stating her decision was to allow new leadership and denying the allegations. Oh, the shirtless picture? Oh. I think I saw that, but didn't know that's where that came from. Right? She was a busy little, Becky was a busy little Becky Beaver. August 13th, 2024, the South Carolina Supreme Court agrees to hear Murdaugh's appeal regarding the alleged jury tampering, a decision that could potentially lead to a new trial. Yeah. December 10th, 2024, Murdaugh's attorneys file a 132-page appeal with the South Carolina Supreme Court outlining their arguments for retrial. April 2025, the state requests an extension to respond to Murdaugh's appeal, citing the need to review extensive trial transcripts and related documents. The court grants a 120-day extension. May 2025. Hill's ethics hearing is postponed due to a pending criminal investigation by the South Carolina Attorney General's office. The ethics case will remain on hold until the criminal investigation concludes. Okay, now we're going to get into some details. May 14th, 2025. Becky Hill, 57, of Walterboro, South Carolina, voluntarily surrendered to agents of the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, also known as SLED, at approximately 7:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. She was booked into the Colleton County Detention Center, which makes me giggle, the same facility where Alex Murdaugh was held during his high-profile murder trial in early 2023. Oh, the irony. Can you all taste it? The irony is thick right here. Hill is currently facing the following charges in Colleton County: 1 count of obstruction of justice, 2 counts of misconduct in office. At a bond hearing Wednesday, Hill was granted a personal recognizance bond of $10,000 per charge, totaling $30,000. She only has to pay that sum should she break the conditions of her bond. She was deemed to not be a flight risk by the judge, having lived in Colleton County for 25 years. I agree. I don't find her a flight risk at all. She's a lot of things, but she's not a flight risk. July 18th, 2025, Hill is scheduled to make her initial court appearance on these charges on Friday, July 18th, 2025, in Colleton County. December 8th, 2025, Mary Rebecca Becky, Courthouse Becky Hill, pleaded guilty in Colleton County Circuit Court to 4 charges of obstruction of justice and perjury for showing a reporter photographs that were sealed court exhibits and then lying about it, as well as 2 counts of misconduct in office for taking bonuses and promoting through her public office a book she wrote on the trial. Becky. Hubbard told the judge that a journalist told investigators that Hill showed graphic crime scene photos to several media members. He did not name the journalist. Don't we all want to know who the journalist is? Side note, did you all realize that Mandy Matney nor Liz Farrell ever actually went to the courthouse for any of Alex Murdaugh's trial? Did you all know that? I remember her mentioning at one point that something about not being able to be in the room or something like that. And they never went. And I got to tell you, it's a whole different flavor when you're sitting in the courtroom. That was a huge misstep on their part. Yeah. They did not ever physically. You would have seen them. Everybody knows what Mandy Matney and Liz Farrell look like. You'd have seen them in the courtroom. We saw McCulloch and we saw Eric Bland, and why can't I think of the other dude's name that was representing some of the victims, the financial crime victims? Oh my gosh, I can see his name. I think he's running for a political office or something. Why can't I think of his name? Super, super funny guy. Not dreadlocks, but he's been growing his hair longer. I can't think of his name. If anybody in the chat thinks of his name, it escapes me right now. I would always see him in the courtroom. Mark Tinsley, I would see. I never saw either one of them. And I know they commented on the fact that they weren't there. So yeah, Serenity, I do think it's kind of lazy, you know? Oh, it was right on the tip of my tongue, his name. It'll come to me when I'm not trying to think of it. The photos were briefly posted online, and Hubbard said metadata from the images matched up with the time where Hill's courthouse key card said she was inside the locked room where the photos were kept. Wow, I didn't know that. Hill admitted taking money from her office. One of the charges of misconduct in office involved money that investigators said Hill took for herself. She brought a check to court on Monday to pay back nearly $10,000 meant for bonuses from federal money meant to improve child support collection, and about $2,000 in money from the clerk of court's office. Judge Heath Taylor sentenced Hill, 58, to 3 years of probation. Hill read a short statement where she asked the judge for a chance to do better. There is no excuse for the mistakes I made. I'm ashamed of them and will carry that shame the rest of my life. Oh yeah, buddy, you will. Why can't I think of that attorney's name? It's going to drive me insane. I got to look it up, folks. Give me just 1 second. I just cannot think of his name, and it's going to absolutely drive me crazy. Justin Bamberg. That's who I was trying to think of. Whew, I feel better now. And Janet, you're asking, why should we trust this Greg Parker? I don't necessarily know that we should or shouldn't, but I can tell you his attorneys are wanting a lot of information a lot of discovery that I think they have a right to. And so there's that. Let's look at the Becky Hill emails. Give me a moment. And I'm going to make it bigger for everybody. Nobody panic. So this appears to be during the trial. The photos of Maggie and Paul were the most egregious. I never saw any of the photographs of Maggie and Paul, but I can tell you, based on what I've seen in photographs after their bodies were removed, well, mostly Paul's body, it looked like it was pretty horrific. Now, Maggie, on the other hand, I don't know. I haven't really seen anything. Yeah. And that whole area now, to me, whenever I see photographs or anything, or even when I was watching the Hulu the Hulu movie mini series about it, it just gives me a really creepy, eerie feeling. And I can't imagine standing there, what it must feel like, because you're standing where two people lost their lives. It's got to be really creepy. So this was on February 21st, 2023. This was literally in the middle of trial because remember, he was found guilty the beginning of March. So this is when trial is going on. The updated Murdaugh text is at CPS 646 with photos. The text is also pasted below for reference. And then there is this big, long diatribe of things that she is wanting to put in her book, I guess. Page 1 of 5. In the third week of the trial, I didn't remember Seconder being the third week of the trial. There's almost a part of me that I feel like I need to go back and watch this trial again. Now that I know so much more. This is all what she wants in the book. Like, this is a lot of writing. And I just want to make sure this was from, no, I'm sorry. This is from the BBC writer. My bad. To Becky. My bad. And this author is writing a lot. In July, he was arrested for the killings. Then this is also another Google Docs drive. Oh. Let me read this. This is from Holly to Becky and Ben Bevington. Ben Bevington looks like he is at the same place. He's at the BBC. And it says, the court clerk just gave me access to the pool photos, which are great. Lots of Murdaugh and several of the characters I have in the story. I have a freelance photographer in the area who is available, but I think these will go a long way. I don't think this link will work. Let's see. Photo pool hasn't made any photos public yet. Yeah. I mean, it was worth a try, right? What could it hurt? I will check in on Friday and can take up edits production then or over the weekend. Scheduling the piece next week would be smart. We will catch the traffic around closing arguments, but we'll still be ahead of a verdict. And there are rumors that the defense will call Alec to the stand, which would add fantastic color to the story, particularly the end. Thanks very much, both. I'm so pleased I was able to go last week. So the author lady was actually at the trial. Imagine that. She was actually there, probably because she wanted to get a flavor of what was happening. Alrighty, let me head back. We're going to look at the ethics complaint. We're going to look at everything. Y'all ready for that? Because this is really the last thing I'm covering in this tonight, and we'll be adjourning. Please see attachments. And then it goes on. This was filed June 28th, 2023. Oh boy. Here we go. This is the written statement of redacted regarding the unethical behavior of the Colleton County Clerk of Court, Becky Hill. Hill is the elected clerk of court and was in office at the time of the Murdaugh trial. Since the beginning of the trial, Hill has utilized her authority, the Colleton County Courthouse, and taxpayers' money outside the scope of routine court business. Through interviews with various media sources, Hill admits she planned to write a book as soon as she discovered Murdaugh would be adjudicated in Colleton County. Hill also used her position to make contacts prior to trial that could assist her in this endeavor. These admissions can be discovered in local news sources and social media posts. During the Murdaugh trial, Hill used her political position and authority to obtain confidential information and digital images of the defendant and others during the trial. At the conclusion of the trial, Hill was interviewed by members of Netflix and was responsible for releasing unredacted body camera footage. Whoop. Yikes. On the second anniversary of the Murdaugh murders, June 9th, 2023, Hill appeared in a news article on WalterboroLive.com. In this article, she acknowledged the release of her book, Behind the Doors of Justice. In this article, Hill claims the book will detail interactions with Murdaugh, attorney tensions, witnesses, and jurors. I submit that releasing this information to the public could have an adverse effect in upholding the conviction of Murdaugh in the event of an appeal. It is well known Hill allows guided tours of the Colleton County Courthouse during normal business hours for donations, in air quotes. This information has been made on Facebook posts. In some of the posts, several citizens are seen posing for pictures in the holding cell Murdaugh occupied during the trial. I'm sorry. And also the same one that she got to sit in. Sorry. Just caught me really funny. This whole thing, all these tentacles and everything is like just dripping with irony for me. I get such a kick out of it. I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry. I just get a really big kick out of it. Hill tells attendees the donations are to replace the front windows of the courthouse. It is also known a male tourist wrote a check to Colleton County in the amount of $100 as a donation for a tour. Hill later ordered a staff member to alter the check by striking through Colleton County and adding her, shut the front door. Becky, you didn't do that. Becky. Bad, Becky. Hill then deposited the check into her personal bank account. The donations are unaccounted for as there are no receipts being issued. It is unknown what financial institution and account the donations are being held in. Wow. On June 2nd, 2023, Hill permitted Hampton County author Michael DeWitt to promote, sell, and sign copies of his newly released book, Wicked Hampton County, inside the main courtroom of the Colleton County Courthouse during business hours. I rather like Mr. DeWitt. I think that he has some good reporting as well. Yeah, check the fake Forge account. That's where the money went. DeWitt posted this information on Facebook, and it was also published on BlufftonToday.com. In the post, DeWitt indicates, I will be selling and signing copies of Wicked Hampton County and talking about the South Carolina Low Country's rich but often wicked history this Friday, June 2nd, during tours of the Colleton County Courthouse from 9 a.m. to noon and from 2 to 4 p.m. and again on June 16th. Wicked Hampton County is already a bestseller among true crime new releases on Amazon, but this will be a great way to hear some of these wicked stories firsthand and meet the author, along with Colleton County Clerk of Court, Becky Bloom Hill, and her staff. This post by DeWitt is demonstrative as it admits routine court business being interrupted on multiple days for several hours to permit Hill and her staff to interact with visitors while abandoning their duties and allowing the courthouse to be utilized for commerce. During these tours, Hill is also verbally promoting her book. Hang on a second. I'm trying to figure out where I am. Promoting her book. Hill has also permitted her staff members to leave work before the close of business to allow members of Netflix to set up equipment in the courthouse for the purpose of filming footage for an upcoming Netflix series. As of June 14th, 2023, there was a post in the Facebook group Murdaugh Murders Case Discussion. In the post, there is a digital image of Alex Murdaugh resting on a bed with a book inside a holding cell. This post was uploaded by Melissa Gordon, photographer of Behind the Walls of Justice. Gordon stated this image was taken from the security camera monitored during the deliberations and minutes before Murdaugh's conviction. Wow. This shows Becky Hill permitted Gordon unimpeded access to the Colleton County Courthouse and facilitated her in taking digital images that no other citizen was permitted to have. Gordon was also allowed into the courthouse every day of the trial, even though it was admitted there was limited amount of seating for spectators and that entrance was permitted on a first come, first served basis. In the post, there was a link to additional images. When the reader clicks on the link, it takes the reader to the Behind the Doors of Justice website where Hill's book can be purchased. As the days passed and Hill continued to participate in interviews with multiple sources, she admitted to formulating a plan to write her book when she heard the trial would be held in Colleton County. She also admitted to meeting Melissa Gordon at the beginning of the trial and discovered she was a photographer. Gordon was soon hired to be the photographer of Hill's book. This information can be found by listening to the podcast Impact of Influence, episode 130, a behind the scenes look at the Murdaugh trial. Impact of Influence. Do you all remember who the parties are behind Impact of Influence? Happens to be the one I ended up turning to, especially toward the end and at the times that I couldn't handle the vocal fry. It's, of course, Seton Tucker and Matt Harris, Impact of Influence. During the Murdaugh trial, Clerk of Court Becky Hill has unethically and potentially unlawfully used her political office to obtain and release confidential information. She has used her office and misallocated funds to promote her book and the book written by Michael DeWitt. Hill has neglected the office of Clerk of Court to take several trips to promote her book and to meet with Netflix to secure her position in the upcoming series. Hill's actions have displayed she is unfit to hold the office of Clerk of Court. And there you all have that. Let's continue on. There's more. Oh no, Janet, there's more. There's more. Let me take a peek here and see. Here is her response. Oh, good grief. Her response is 31 pages long, y'all. I probably should have started there. Hang on a second. Let me look and see. This might be the last thing we cover. So let me check to see. Well, this is 63 pages long. Are there exhibits? Let's look. Oh, boy, there's a whole lot more to this, y'all. Let me get to these are the affidavits of the jurors. Yeah, this is another live stream, just reading all of uh-huh. Oh, we're not done with Miss Becky. Yeah, all this, and she only got 3 years probation. So let me see the letter to Nancy Grace. I don't know. It might be in this sea of documentation, Kelly. Let me we're going to go to her answer. And we will start. This is on behalf of my client. This is dated August 21st, 2023. I think in red are her answers. So it may go a little faster than I'm thinking. This says the complaints are bereft of any evidence of wrongdoing. Interestingly, the complaint of each is based on jealous and judgmental opinions of a supposed longtime friendship between the people involved. Oh, do we know who that is? I can't think of her name, but she was another clerk of court that was helping during all of this. And she had given some guidance to Courthouse Becky and told her, like, don't be driving any jurors home and stuff like that. And then this gives background on her. Throughout the last 17 years in judicial service, Mrs. Hill has often thought that cases in which she has been involved were interesting, would make an epic read, not unlike the bestsellers from authors like John Grisham to Mary Higgins Clark. This is not uncommon to members of the legal community throughout our state. In this instance, as the trial progressed, Mrs. Hill began to keep a journal which memorialized her impressions of the trial, the actors, and the evidence. No, she didn't. This information was not proprietary, nor was it privileged to the litigants or in any way subject to being sealed from the public domain. The daily interactions and happenings of this trial were such that it has become known as the trial of the century. No, it wasn't. This story really wrote itself, and Mrs. Hill wrote all of it in her journal. This journal later became the primary source of information for her book. Hey, y'all, do you want to see the journal? I want to see the journal because I think the journal doesn't exist. Oh boy, there is a lot here. I don't know that I have the energy to go through 31 pages of her answers, y'all. We might have to do another live stream for this. I don't know that my voice will hold up. Look at everything in red is her answer. Like long answers. And yeah, all denying and lies. Yeah, we're going to definitely do this, but it may not be tonight. How about that? Let me take us to, there is another document. Oh, we did the emails already. Let me close some tabs so that I don't get myself all jacked up here. This is page 27. Okay, so we need to do a live stream, or I need to do a live stream that just covers the actual Becky Hill documents, complaints, and exhibits. So we will do that. It is probably not going to be tonight. Actually, it is not going to be tonight. Because I think between the two of those, like I say, there's about 90 pages of information. I don't think all of it needs to be read, but that's a lot for me to read this evening. So I will definitely schedule another. I have a couple things in the hopper for next week. One of those is possibly a guest that I'm trying to work out. Well, actually, while I'm sitting here, let me look and see if I got any answer back while we're still here chitty chatting in the tubes of you. Let me see. I don't think I did get an answer. I have not gotten an answer yet. So we'll wait. I'm have my fingers crossed that I may indeed get an answer from this individual as a possible guest. But in the meantime, I think I'm going to reach out to Mr. Seidel. Rhonda, thank you so much, Kelly. Yes, it was Rhonda that was her friend that was like, hey, you need to stop doing some stuff. Okay. So I'll reach out to Mr. Seidel. The other thing is I'm in the midst of watching the Stefan Diggs trial. It seems like it's kind of a short one. I think we could probably squeeze that out in a Monday night and a Wednesday night kind of thing. So I think I may try to do a replay of his trial next week because I got a lot to say. Because that chef, y'all, that chef, the word insufferable does not even come close to describing her. Not even close. We need to do this together because we're going to need all of the emotional support friends we can have to get through it because it's something. I know that we have all probably already heard what the verdict is. So when we get ready to watch it, I need everyone to kind of wipe your mind clean. And I know you all can do this. I know you can do this. Because we've done it before when we've sat down to rewatch a replay of a trial. And we just kind of say, we don't know what's going on. We ask for people to not give us spoilers and things like that. And we will see legitimately from our perspective what verdict we would come to because you all are my jurors. You haven't heard the verdict. Great. Great. We're not going to talk about the verdict then. Kelly hasn't heard the verdict. Don't anybody say anything. Don't spoil it in the chat. I will have to give 50 lashes with a wet noodle. I think that may be, I'm going to see what the weather is this weekend because Mother's Day is Sunday and I don't really want to do anything on Sunday. I think I'm gonna stick, I think, with the Monday, Wednesday of next week that we can do possibly the Stefan Diggs replay. We've got, so y'all are asking me. I have not gotten a word on Zach Adams. I think I may reach out to another connection that I have that's close to the defense team. Not Dr. Spirko and not Dana, and see if there's any movement or if we know anything at all. I'll try that. I have several people I need to reach out to. That'll probably be tomorrow evening's project. So let's get a little update on everything that's been going on this week. My phone got an update. Let's see. I'm trying to get used to the update on my phone. Did anybody else get an update on their iPhone? There was an iOS update. So Dale Warner gets sentenced tomorrow. Yes, I'm excited for that. Friday, y'all. There's a lot going down on Friday. Caleb Flynn has a hearing on Friday. Hey, USMC. Yes, I didn't even pay attention that that's who was post or chatting in the chat. So Caleb Flynn has a hearing tomorrow. We, of course, have all probably heard that the jury in his case is going to do a field trip. They will be going to the home location, which I think will be important. You know, the whole garage thing. And I'm sorry, you know, the whole garage thing. Got to say it the right way, right? So that he has a hearing tomorrow. I'm sorry, has a hearing on Friday. Brendan Banfield is going to be sentenced on Friday as well. And y'all, the day has finally come. Friday, Raul Valley, with his new attorney, will be appearing for a hearing as well. And I'm anxious to see what happens with that, because my understanding is his attorney is wanting to have the charges dropped because he's claiming double jeopardy. So that will be interesting. Next week, Corey Richins gets sentenced on, of course, Eric Richins' birthday. There is a hearing for Laken Snelling, Brad Simpson, and you know, we just added it on Monday. Mandy Matney is going to have her deposition. And then I'm trying to see the dates. I can't today. Let's see, 4/14. So then on Monday, the 18th, the Dr. Ebony Parker trial begins. Do you all remember Dr. Ebony Parker was the principal at the school where Abigail Zwerner was shot by a student? And we had the civil case for Abigail Zwerner. Gosh, I feel like it was last year. So that actual trial is starting on the 18th. Joseph Duggar has a hearing on the 18th. I'll also be reaching out to my contact with the defense team tomorrow on that. And then Fraser Bohm has a hearing that same week. And Dr. Shaknovsky has a hearing. So we've got a lot of stuff in May that is coming up that we're going to have to follow. But at this point, I don't have a ton that we can cover. What I do have is a lot of little updates that we need to do. I also would like to reach out to Mr. Hines. He has Catch Up Court on YouTube, and he and I may try to do some sort of collaboration. So I got irons in the fire, you know? And I'm sorry, Kristen, that your phone got locked up because of the new update. That stinks. And Little Drummer Boy says, I only have a half day of classes tomorrow, so hopefully I can catch the sentencing. Fingers crossed. Yes. Yeah, there's a lot happening this month. And as far as hearings and everything. I'm not entirely sure, just like last week, what I'm going to have for us next week. I'm leaning toward the Stefan Diggs trial replay, and we'll see what happens. I don't like to do more than just a couple nights each week because I need my beauty sleep. There's a lot that goes into being Ms. Demeanor. Y'all don't realize. And so I can't be live streaming and working all day and all night. Like I got, other stuff. Not much, but okay. So, Kelly, you had to bring it up. The Guppies. Y'all don't realize Mr. Demeanor has created I don't want to say a mess for himself, but he is now to the point he understands that he has to control things a little better. We have so many babies, which, by the way, in case you all were wondering, when there are little baby guppies, they're called fry. And so you have to keep the fry away from the mamas and the daddies. And something else you may not know, the females can mate one time, they store the sperm, and they will have babies multiple times without ever having interaction with a male. Can you believe it? Yeah, so there's lots of guppies at the Demeanor household right now. Lots. He is continuing to sell them. He did a trade the other night for some shrimp so that the shrimp can help keep the tanks clean, you know. But we got a lot of guppies. So there's that too that we have to take care of. Please make sure that you follow along on posts on YouTube and also on the Twix, because I do tend to give a lot of updates on the Twix as far as what's happening with scheduling. I don't know exactly what's going to be going on. And of course, when I end up going to CrimeCon later or at the end of this month, I won't be doing any live streaming. I may do some quick little videos just to kind of let y'all know what's going on, but I will not have a full-on live stream to cover anything until I come back. And then I'm going to have all kinds of stuff to cover with all of you. So with that, if you haven't hit the like button or hit the thumbs up or left your DNA on the thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed, you should do that now. Turn your notifications on. And I thank you all for hanging out with me this evening. Everyone on the Twix, thank you so much. If you are watching on Replay Crew, thank you. Drop me a comment. Love to see them. And everybody else, you know how it goes. It doesn't cost a penny to be kind. So find someone to do something nice for today if you haven't already. And remember,